Hello. Hello. Good morning. Hello. Welcome once again to Dork Duck Daily, the show with all the news you nerd. Another trimmings. Today is r/slash relationship advice day. Good morning, Addo. Hello, hello. Lena, I think, will be in here shortly. She's off feeding cats and it waking up a little more slowly than waking up, taking 3 steps, and immediately being perceived by the internet. Hello. Hi, we've made it to another Friday. Um, that's kind of where I think we all are feeling right now. Of just like, oh, we another week, we did it. We made it through. Um, Another one. We muscled through. We did it. We got there. Um, Good morning, Sam. Hello, hello. Uh, Congrats on making it through the week. Exactly. Yeah, we spent last night on here almost putting Resident Evil to bed. It's getting close. Um that's become kind of one of those chores that happens just when you take so much time off in the middle and around and everything. Cuz like we took one. It's what I always say. It's like you take a week off, then it like turns into it snowballs, right? But we took a week off because we did like a special Tuesday thing for my side, and it was like, well, we want to finish that game, so we took over that Thursday, and then it was me like having all my dental stuff in there, and I think we played for like one more week, and then there was like 2 weeks off for dental stuff, and then there was a week in there where like I definitely have no one. It's my secret, okay? We're gonna talk about this, but big secret. I have teenagers, right? And so, um, it's a rough stage of being a dad of teenagers. But part of it is that I've got these kids that I really fucking miss hanging out with because now they're teenagers and they don't want to hang out with me. Except for every once in a while, they'd be like, "Dad, do we watch that show tonight that we're supposed to watch?" And then I'm like, "Yep, I will clear my schedule. I will absolutely clear my schedule to do that with you, kid. You want to hang out with me? Yep, let's do it." It's that happened on one of the Thursdays too. So it's we'd basically not done one of those Thursday night streams in an entire month. And so getting back into it last night, it was kind of just like, where I remember slightly where we were at. Oh, okay, yeah, okay. Um, and it feels like another night or two of those, and then we'll be done with that, and then we'll see what Selena's gonna play after that. I think we're leaning in the Hollow Knight direction, which would be fun for Sam and I. But I also the pick has to be organically Selena's. So I will give her other options to be like, hey, here's a bunch of them. Sam says, speaking of Hollow Knight, yeah, both Sam and Shiki are doing Hollow Knight right now because Shiki has been doing her playthrough of it, and Sam's been trying to do a deathless Hollow Knight run. Sam says, I'm checking out the new route right now. I want to have Steel Soul unlocked for Monday. Okay. I don't know what that means, but yeah, right on. Addo, since you share a brain cell with me, have you um speaking of Hollow Knight, listening to Phil Morning? Morning to you. Addo, since we shared 100 comedy points, Addo, by the way. Since we share a brain, Addo, have you looked at blueprints at all? This is probably I need to finish uh the South of Midnight first. Yes, the points don't matter. Yeah, they don't. Uh, I need to finish South of Midnight. Once I do, though, this is probably going to be mine. Of course, you were also obsessed with Whose Line. Of course, Adam. And I have heard of Blueprints, and it's on my wish list. Yeah, it's on Game Pass, which means it moves up my wish list pretty high. Because I can just download and play it. But bandwidth wise, I just need to make sure that I finish out South of Midnight first. But yeah, it looks cool. Kinda, yeah. Look at it in that very tiny window.
An empty blueprint represents a world of possibilities.
Oh yeah. I hate trailers like this. That doesn't actually show anything. But yeah, it's a roguelike puzzle adventure game. It has people people are comparing it a lot to Outer Wilds, and then I've seen some pushback on that of like, yeah, not so much. Outer Wilds is like one of the best games ever, and it isn't quite that. But I think it's like the slow information gathering end of it. And then people have compared it to Myst. And I don't know it seems like it's its own thing. I'm really excited to check it out. Addo said, I just stopped paying for Game Pass since Microsoft is using their Xbox branch to help. Yeah, well, I saw there's a big push of people asking people to stop doing Microsoft stuff for that reason. That just happened this past week. So I can get it on sale sometime. Sam said, I am so excited for Missed Years. Me too. I am intrigued what Sam, I like to take notes and write everything down and just play things myself without a walkthrough. Playing Myst is going to look like. Because that was definitely the expectations of how you're supposed to play that game. I love Myst. Myst is so good. Speaking of Brain Cell, do you like tactical games? I have a recommendation for you. Okay. I'm always here for recommendations. This is I don't play things without walkthroughs. Shiki is my guide person for every. That's true. Myst is similar to something more like Outer Wilds, where it's like, I don't know, figure out here's the sandbox of it, just figure it out. Which I really like games like that. But it's interesting. There's not a lot of games that exist like that anymore. Everything's very like linear, or if it's non-linear, it's very like survival. But there's still like a carrot and a stick pushing you along. I'll be relying on Flower's Brain heavily in Myst, I think, very similar to King's Quest. Pacing and storytelling has changed a ton. Yeah. I love Myst. I especially love the Myst novels. That's like the one thing that the tie-in stuff I am obsessed with. Addo says Dark Deity 2. It plays like a GBA Fire Emblem game. Sounds amazing. Yeah, I don't know anything about this. I hate that it like defaults to a streamer at the top of. I get it. You weren't there. This looks great. God damn it, Addo. Okay. Fine. I'll add this to the wish list too. Yeah, that looks amazing. Okay. Addo says I have the VOD up from when I played it Wednesday. Oh, nice. Sim says back then people didn't have a million games to play. They had a handful and suck hours and hours into them and replayed them for ages. The only reason I'm half decent in Donkey Kong Country 2. The medium has just evolved to maintain players' attention. That's true. And everything's in this just like, keep looking at me. Keep looking at me. I've been seeing the reports, and it's Pete Davidson was talking about it on a podcast this week, and a couple other people have been like mentioning it. But the mandate is starting to come out in writers' rooms and stuff for these shows on Netflix. That I watch a lot of old TV, and old TV is really interesting because it's all written in a way that if you're coming back from a commercial break and you weren't watching it before the commercial break, that it like reorients you in what's happening in the episode. And if you've never seen an episode before or after, it's made to like, hey, if this is the moment you're coming in, you're going to be as good to go as we can get you there, right? Apparently, the mandate now in these writing rooms and stuff is to make TV that can be fully understood from whenever you happen to look up from your phone. So it's TV that's meant to be watched like this. And then every 2 seconds, they're like, hey, Billy, are you still going to the thing? Yes, Billy, I'm still going to the thing. I'm a character whose name is Billy, and I'm going to the thing. Yes, Billy? We've gotten so down the rabbit hole of just, like, people aren't going to be watching the make it so, like, whenever they happen to glance up from their phone, they know what's going on. It's just absolutely insane. Sam says Shiki got me missed 1 through 5 for my birthday or Christmas, I forget which. I never played it really, but I used to watch my older siblings play it. It's incredible. Riven especially is really good. I would say, if anything, commit to like Myst and Riven, because that is like the Donkey Kong like 1, 2, and 3. Like these were the ones that like existed at the time, and the like these were like the ones. Like you can walk away after Riven and play what 99.9% of gamers have played that like those games. I would say weirdly like you can play 3 through 5. But there's that game, it's called Obstruction or something from a few years back. And that's almost more, in a lot of ways, that's more Myst 3 than it's Abduction. That's more Myst 3 than Myst 3 is in a lot of ways. Because it's just like it's very, hey, we made this in the 2010s, but we're going back to like what like, and it says from the creators of Myst and Riven, like they don't even acknowledge the later games. But this is like completely where they're doing the same, like, hey, there's just like video of real people playing on screens and things in this world, and this game's really good. And it's not connected in lore at all to Myst or Riven. But it's a really good game made by those people. Yeah.
You are most probably a bit confused and disoriented, but let me reassure you.
And it's like them making a game in 2016, which like feels very both throwbacky and like it's very cool. Yeah, high recommend on that. It says I'm committing to all of them. I don't think you understand my goal with streams is to clear my library, Jeff. Okay. Sorry. It's if that's how Netflix has been forced writers. That just sucks. Adam says, and yet shows like Shogun that require focus are what's bringing home awards. Yeah, that's the thing. Or The Pit, which was incredible. It's amazing that they have done all of this like crazy, amazing stuff by just being like, what if we made a show that people like actually wanted to pay attention to, and Netflix out there just like, just dumb it down more, because they're not going to pay attention. So, yeah, it's insane. Sam says it makes me laugh when me and Jeff talk about my streams. I'm just trying to clear games I own, and he's like, "Have you tried this? You should play this." Cats are causing a ruckus. I have over 1,000 games. I really don't need more. LOL. That's neat though. They made another game. I will not buy you Abduction. As says, speaking of game wrecks, I have another one for both of you. Good morning, Vince. As says, it shows that they're worth paying attention to. The axe looking at Sensei. Yeah, that's a bummer. Yeah, what's your other recommendation? Are the cats okay? I think so. They're causing a ruckus. I had so like I came to sleep about like 20 minutes after Selena last night, and I could not get the cats out of here to save them. Usually you could like kind of quickly like usher them out. Sam said, I can't tell if that was sarcasm or not, but please wait till money is less tight. Yeah, I know. It'll happen at a time where it's comfortable for me. Also, Abduction is all of... Okay, it's $30 on here, but I did not pay that for Abduction, so they're solutions. It's just last night I kept going to lay down, and then there'd be like a cat making noise in here, and I'd be like, okay, cat, let's get out of here. And I would go grab said cat, and then the cat would like and like hide under the bed, and I'd be like, ugh. And then I'd be like, okay. And then I'd like go to like shut the door with that cat in, then another cat would run in, and I was like, fine. After like 6 or 7 tries, I would just lay down and went to sleep, and then I woke up to like one of our cats knocking like a full drink off of the desk, and I had just gone through like all of that an hour or two before, and so I was just like, let it spill. But then that woke Selena up instantly, who was just like, oh my god. Adam says 1,000 times resist is up for Nebula Hugo War. I think you were telling me about this. Yes, this is... Yeah, I hadn't heard of this before you. What'd you say? Yeah, I heard it. What stuff got knocked over? Yeah, Addo, that's very on my radar because of you. I had no idea what that game was before. Apparently Pancake knocked over a bunch of nail polish is what had happened. Adam says I can't keep track of who I've talked to about the game with or not. It looks very good. I don't remember if it was on this show or your show or where we, but yeah, it was. That game looks amazing. That's it looks like this, and it's just on Steam and the Switch right now.
Yeah.
Fine, the door can be opened. Or... Okay. I love you. You don't have to clean up right now, and I can help clean up north of the show. Okay, I'm gonna pick up stuff real quick. I'll be right back.
You're fine, I already got it.
Um,
Okay,
Addo says hello.
no.
And Sam says, Pancake, it's too early for violence. Which Addo says cats don't know the concept of time.
Sorry. Not feeling.
That's okay. I'm sorry you're not feeling well still. Sam says hello. We don't just cover cat chaos on this show. We also cover all the news you nerd in a whole segment we like to call the Daily Quack. What'd you say?
Bothered by. Kept talking to you. I didn't realize you.
Oh,
Back on.
I've never bothered you about you. I love you.
Perhaps. Or
You could. What is happening right now? I'm very confused. Oh, and it's because we're doing a show right now. I love you. Do you need me to like shut the show down or like take a break or like?
no, I.
Okay. I thought my All right, I will be right back. I'm gonna do. I don't even have a break screen for the show because we usually don't break, but I will be right back. I have returned. What's up, homebrew? I like the quack quack quack. Adam says, I thought my ducks were at a rave today. I bet you're wondering why I've gathered you here today. Don't mind me here. I'm just tired and being uninhibited. That's fine. I like the tired, uninhibited adult energy. But yeah, morning news. Let's go. Roblox's latest legal entanglement is with the creator of the viral Apple Dance, who took TikTok by storm. Kelly is an independent creator who should be compensated fairly for her work. This is from Molly Taylor over at PC Gamer. Gun to my head, I couldn't tell you what the Apple Dance is. I'm sure my kids know what it is. Which dance is the Apple Dance? Show me gifts. We'd just like to see. This is why old people stay old, because I was like, show me gifs of the Apple Dance, and they showed me just apples. Dancing apples. That's not helpful. I'm still clueless and old. Here's apparently Charlie XCX doing the Apple Dance. It's oh my god. I'm just trying to figure out. I'm an old man just trying to figure out what the fuck the Apple Dance is. Okay. I don't care that much. Never mind. We'll never know. It's not for us to know what the Apple Dance is, apparently. Sam says, I don't know, man. Gun to my head, I would probably make up a convincing explanation for Apple dancing. Put the puzzle pieces so they know you're human. I couldn't pull it off. Maybe I'm not a human. Apple. Alright. Roblox has landed itself in hot water with viral TikTok choreographer Kelly Hayer, as she's filed lawsuits against the platform for using her dance without permission. Hayer is behind last year's Apple Dance, choreographed to Charlie XCX's song of the same name, which propelled both her and the tune to fame, even leading Hayer to perform the dance live at one of Charlie XCX's concerts. If you're not as online as him, the trend was completely inescapable. Hell, even if you're not as online as I am, you probably come across the song or the dance at least once since it went viral last summer. I think I'm criminally online, and I encountered neither. But if somehow you're not seeing the dance or heard the song yet, here's Hayer performing the song. Okay, fine. I could have waited. I could have just scrolled down. All right. The Apple Dance. Okay. There you go, everyone. That is the Apple Dance. Can't say I get it, but it's not for me. I don't have to. That's the dance that Hayer's legal team alleges was taken by Roblox without Hayer's consent, which was then released as part of Dress to Impress Charlie XCX themed Brat update back in August 2024. According to Polygon, the two parties were in talks to license the dance out on August 12th, but Roblox went ahead and released it before the two could come to a signed agreement. Hayer went ahead and copyrighted her dance at the end of August, a couple of weeks after the Brat update hit Dress to Impress. The lawsuit alleges that Roblox made around $123,000 from selling the emote between August and November last year, with legal representative Mikey Nzai saying Hayer is an independent creator who should be compensated fairly for her work. As I said, I've seen that and I don't understand it at all. I don't either. But okay. It's worth noting that Hayer has successfully worked with a different game to turn her dance into an emote. Fortnite added the bratty dance back in mid-December, with Hayer noting on TikTok that the whole Fortnite team was really wonderful and super easy to work with. She even hinted back then that Roblox hadn't exactly been kosher about its own emote release, saying in the same video that Fortnite was the only video game platform that has a signed contract to license the dance from Hayer. It's an interesting case, one that isn't at all that unique in today's landscape, as games like Fortnite continue to immortalize and, more importantly, monetize pop culture internet moments. Fortnite itself is no stranger. Related to lawsuits, the actor behind the iconic Fresh Prince of Bel-Air Carlton dance, Alfonso Ribeiro, thought he hit some copyright snags. It sued the developer, though he hit some copyright snags in the process. Other viral dance creators like 2 Milli, the Backpack Kid, the Floss, which Ninja painfully performed during disastrous Times Square New Year's Eve special, and Orange Shirt Kid have all previously had lawsuits against Epic Games for using their dances without any formal agreement, though they were dropped with the purpose of refiling. It's unclear if that'll actually happen, though. Actor Donald Faison, whose moves to Belle Biv DeVoe's Poison on an episode of Scrubs is now more commonly known as the Fortnite default dance, never got around to filing a lawsuit, but has previously expressed his frustrations with seeing his creations being used unpaid. But now it's Roblox's turn to be in the firing line, and I hope that Hayer receives some kind of positive outcome from all this. It should hopefully help that she's filed for copyright, though we've already seen in previous cases that ownership around viral internet dances is rather shaky. At the end of the day, I'm here for more creators being paid their worth, be it music, dances, and written word, or any other creative outlet. People deserve to get their coin just as much as big corporations feel they deserve to profit off them. Sam says, I know this is anti-capitalist, but like if you make something so common, it's a global trend, you should be allowed to file copyrights for everyone doing and using the global trend. You shouldn't be able to file copyrights for everyone doing it and using the global trend. It should be public domain. I agree up until the point that a big, hairy corporation starts profiting off of it. That's where I start to like, if this, I think that like if you make a thing and it's a big global trend, and that every single mom and grandma that wants to set up a camera and do it or should be able to, and it shouldn't be a big deal. The second I start to be like, hey, some money should be changing hands here, is when someone's putting it in their video game they're profiting off of like crazy, and be it Fortnite or Roblox. Sam says that'd be like the Buddha existing today and suing people for meditating online. I mean, you're not wrong. Again, it's like that's the line I draw, is like once it hits like big hairy corporation. Sam says this has the same feel as don't sing popular songs at daily vlogs because the record label will come after your channel. Don't make something popular if you don't want people doing it, in your opinion. I think there's a big difference between you, like someone setting up a camera and just being like, cool, I'm doing the fun viral dance, and a video game programming that dance in, and especially if they're like selling that emote as like in any kind of way. That's a different thing, in my opinion. But like, I'm with you. Since I notoriously hate U.S. copyright law, Walt Disney ruined it, and I can go on a 6-hour rant about this. Yes. And you're not wrong, Sam, is that the problem is that like the laws that we would want to do to protect this one creator would then turn into hey, let's this corporation now owns this dance and will forever in all time. It's not like Donald Faison would have been able to keep that dance he did for Scrubs. NBC or whoever would end up owning that. Adam says, I think corps will make money either way. This is a way for the creator to get some money back. That being said, I agree with what you say, yeah. Sam says, not if the popular thing was public domain, then anyone would be able to profit from it. That's true. In the very rare good corporate news, Google is an online advertising monopoly, judge rules. It feels like we report on this about once a month. It is because it keeps going up into different courts and different Supreme Courts stuff and different angles to try to like wriggle out of this, and it keeps not going their way. So have we reported on this before? Yes. Is there once again another development on it that has not gone Google's way? Also yes. This is from Brian Fung at CNN. Says Google has illegally built monopoly power with its web advertising business. A federal judge in Virginia has ruled, siding with the Justice Department in a landmark case against a tech giant that could reshape the basic economics of running a modern website. The ruling that Google violated antitrust laws marks the U.S. government's second major court victory over Google in less than a year, amid claims the company has illegally monopolized key parts of the internet ecosystem, including online search. And it's the third such decision since a federal jury in December 2023 found that Google's proprietary app store is also an illegal monopoly. Taken together, the trio of decisions highlights the breadth of trouble Google faces, raising the prospect of sweeping penalties that could reshape multiple aspects of its business, though ongoing and expected appeals will likely take years to play out. Thursday's decision by Judge Leonie Berkema of the U.S. District Court for the Eastern District of Virginia addresses the $31 billion portion of Google's ad business that matches website publishers with advertisers. This stack of technologies determines what banner ads appear on countless sites across the web. The Justice Department's lawsuit followed years of criticism that Google's extensive role in the digital ecosystem that enables advertisers to place ads and for publishers to offer up digital ad space represented a conflict of interest that Google exploited anti-competitively. Berkema sided with the Justice Department's argument that by tying itself to an ad server and publisher ad exchange together, Google was able to establish and protect its monopoly power in these two markets, she wrote in her 115-page decision. But she also struck down one of the government's claims related to Google's online advertiser networks. We won half this case, and we will appeal the other half, Google's Vice President of Regulatory Affairs, Lee Ann Mulholland, said in a statement following the decision. The court found that our advertiser tools and our acquisitions, such as DoubleClick, don't harm competition, Mulholland said. We disagree with the court's decision regarding our publisher tools. Publishers have many options, and they choose Google because our ad tech tools are simple, affordable, and effective. The Department of Justice did not immediately respond to requests for comment. Google had argued that the Justice Department's argument is flawed and would slow innovation, raise advertising fees, and make it harder for thousands of small businesses and publishers to grow, according to a statement from a company spokesperson after the lawsuit was filed in 2023. Sam says, good judge, you were pro to Chrome last time. This is a different branch of Google. Okay, yeah. As says, good judge indeed. Google doing unethical things? Oh, the surprise. However, Berkema argued in her decision that Google's practices have deprived rivals of the ability to compete and substantially harmed Google's publisher, customers, the competitive process, and ultimately consumers of information in the open web. The decision could force Google to divest parts of its online ad business, but the fact that the government did not win all of its claims makes that outcome less likely, said William Kovacic. global competition professor of law and policy at George Washington University Law School. The general idea in other antitrust cases is that the remedy has to be proportional, Vach says. The broader the finding of illegality, the deeper the finding of deliberateness, the greater the platform for a bolder remedy. Still, he said Google could get struck with a conduct remedy such as restrictions on how it can operate or price its services. That would be good for them. Some tech critics and media organizations cheered the ruling. It is wild how this just keeps kind of quietly moving in the background. But it is weird. I think especially Google owning YouTube means that, like, if you go to watch a Google YouTube, if you go to watch a YouTube video in your Google Chrome browser, and send it to your friend on Gmail, like, they own so many pieces of the pie that are supposedly interacting with each other, but they own every bit of it along the way. And it is strange that we just kind of let that happen. I know why. I know because a lot of it was just like no one understood what exactly was happening or how important all this would be down the line. It is, and a lot of these things like used to be independent, and then it was like Google was buying them up and making them not independent. And it feels like it's just as quietly going through the legal process of hopefully resulting in all this stuff getting broken back up. But it doesn't feel like that's a definite outcome right now. I do think it's ultimately in the long run, unless you're going to take these laws off the books, at some point someone's just going to look at this and be like, come on, guys. Like, what are you? we have competition law. You can't own the physical phone and the iOS that the physical phone is using and the browser that then takes you to the thing, and then the thing that people are going to in the browser. Like, you can't own all those pieces together. You just can't. Sam says Google owning the entire pipeline of Google Fiber, ISP, Chromebooks plus Pixel, device, Android, OS, Chrome, browser, Play Store, storefront, AdSense, advertising, and YouTube video platform should be illegal as fuck. And that didn't even include the search engine. Yeah. 100%. Now, everything in life brings about everything's so complicated, and everything in life brings about it simultaneously, good and bad, right? There's nothing has. Whenever you solve something, it brings about problems you didn't see coming, but you fix those problems. And then everything that brings about problems also has some amount of good in it. The good is, right now, basically, the internet has become really small. The smallest it's been since and it's, the reasons why are gross, but it does make for an all-around, theoretically, in some ways, safer sandbox than the internet that I grew up in. And those things go away if we make a more Wild Westy internet again that isn't so like controlled by one company. And it's not like it's perfectly 100% safe either. It's just definitely safer and more controlled than it was. How is the internet small, Sam says? Because when I was a kid, we went to 100 different websites a day and you might not ever go to those websites again. And now we all go to the same 4 websites day after day after day after day after day. And then we pick the 4 websites we go to, or apps rather than websites, I guess. For a lot of us, we pick the 4 spaces we go to out of a list of like 20. It's not like when I was a kid where it was just like you went to like, it's like, oh right, I want a fucking zombie ate my neighbor's ROM. So I'm gonna start randomly clicking through web rings to find that, and like and then you would click through, and then you would you find that, or just like if you searched a search engine, there was an expectation that you were going to go 3, 4, 5 pages deep in that search engine. Sam says people visit Wild West sites constantly still. They do, just not at the rate that they used to. I'm not saying it's statistically 0, but it's not like in the way that things used to be very like, hey, come to our website, everything is based in our website. And like now things are like, hey, come to our Facebook page, or for our business, we no longer are pushing a native website that you have to go to as much as we're pushing our space in these other websites, right? It's made the internet smaller, and Tim said the method's different. The scam advertisements of clone sites, malware, delivery, and phishing. Then it's very far from safe, but I understand what you're trying to get at. Yeah. Yeah, I don't. The internet that I grew up, that I was like let wild on at 8, you were 2 clicks away from gnarly stuff at any given time, and you would not be. It's the thing that we joke about now, where when someone's like, "Oh my god, I just tried searching furniture and it's a bunch of thirst traps," and it's like, "That dude, that's your algorithm. It's because you're looking at thirst traps." But you would be like, "I'm looking for furniture. I'm an 8-year-old kid looking for furniture," and you'd be like 2 clicks away from like a decapitation video or like PCL. It was bad. It was bad. The internet was a wild place then. And there was like troll sites that would set up to be like, this is what this is about, right? And it was just set to troll. Its existence on the internet is a very different place. Edo says, I was never on the internet at that age. We had dial-up, and my dad would be livid if I used the internet without his oversight. Yeah, we had dial-up. I just had no parental supervision. So, and it was like, yeah, it was precisely that. You would not be looking for it, but you would find stuff. But the expectation of the internet, like today, and Sam's right, like the phishing sites and stuff mimic trusted sites. And today, if a kid was looking at something, they'd be like, "Okay, you need to just stay to these." What you would guide them in the path, but there was no. In some ways, it was neat though. Like there was every once in a while, I'll get talking with people, and I'll be like, "Fucking bonus.com had like the best games," and they'll be like, "Oh my god, I remember bonus.com." And it's like there's all these different disparate like flash game sites and stuff. And you'll fall down a rabbit hole when you meet somebody else that was like obsessed with E-Bombs World, or Homestar Runner, and it was like again, everything's a list of good and bad, right? Now Homestar Runner exists by putting their stuff on YouTube, but back in the days of like native Flash websites and stuff, that was a thing that you went to. It was a good time. Adam says my dad was always home and a pastor. he would get mad if the phone wasn't accessible. My dad was often not home. Oh, he was often home and a pastor, though. I didn't know. Did we know we were both pastors' kids? We probably covered that at some point. Snoopy says, put a cur. That dial-up sound will forever be burned by soul. Yes. Sam says a lot of Flash games still exist. I have tried to find a lot of them that were very precious to me, and to mixed effect. It's some of them that I'm like, oh man, I really like that Lenny Luce Jackson space game, which I loved. Which is, believe it or not, a point and click adventure game. That was I love that game, and I was so happy when it finally got a Steam release, because the amount of times I'd find sites that are like, no, it's archived here, you could play it still, and it wouldn't work. I said Flash game sites, just libraries of games running in Flash emulator. Okay. Phoebe says the number of times I should have been doing homework out an English project in the computer lab and I was playing Stick Command Fighting. Yes. It's just it's a very different place, and I wonder if you break up that Google hold that it has on everything, if the world doesn't start to dissipate off a little more that way again. We'll see. The original 1977 cut of Star Wars will be screened for the first time in over 46 years. This is from Keith Nelson Jr. over at Kotaku, who says, the Star Wars Episode 4 A New Hope you remember watching was an original. Let me take that back. It wasn't the original version of the Star Wars film to crash land in theaters in 1977, but after more than 46 years of being locked away in a temperature-controlled tomb in England, the public will get to see the first cut, a special, extra colorful, and well-preserved dye transfer imbibition print of the movie, and George Lucas likely won't be too happy. That word is imbibition. I've never seen that word before. Imbibition. The absorption of one substance by another, in particular the uptake of water by plant. Okay. Good word, I guess. Powerful, well-preserved dye transfer imbibition print of the movie. Okay. George Lucas likely won't be too happy about it. The upcoming British Film Institute Film Festival will open in June with a screening of a rare Technicolor film print of the original Star Wars film that was released during its initial run in Britain. While it has been released on home video, this will be the first time the public will be able to watch in theaters since December 1978. I still have my VHS copies that every once in a while I pull out. They rule. My contention is always that the seeing those versions of the movie, the pre-special edition versions, that's what made me love those movies. It's so cool. Like sitting there as a kid and seeing the black lines around shit and going like, why are those black lines there? And being explained like, okay, well, they took every piece of film and they literally cut out these spaceships and then they pasted them over the piece of film physically, and that's why those black lines are there. And you can especially see them in Hoth because of the snow background, but they wanted to do the snow background because that was the story they were telling. And I just remember just being like, that is the coolest thing I've ever heard. Like, it was so additive. Yeah. Sam says, I started the PC for Kaylee, turned on her bot, had the game pulled up on Steam, right? She sat down and booted Tiny Glade instead, I was like, you start in 6 minutes? Oh yeah, I do, don't I? Sam says imbibition feels like a typo. Could be. Uh, Computer lab, Snoopy says, I think I have as many computers in my house right now. I have like 7 older laptops, a new run, 2 nice PCs. Crazy what computers have come. It uh it is. It's wild. I think about that stuff a lot. And then the funniest thing is just how as I read this, experience it with my kids, but then as I read the studies of just like how not computer literate the generations coming up are, like we are more tech savvy than the groups coming up, which is like scary. But they've grown up just in these like veiled these very walled gardens, right? Of Chromebooks and cell phones and iPads and like this like don't go beyond here. These are the walls. And not, here's a PC. Don't break it. Jeff, did you break the PC again? Yeah, I was downloading porn. I needed to be able to hear All American Rejects move along. I needed the new Limp Bizkit song on my MP3 player. Yeah, I broke our family computer. I'm sorry. George Lucas has been tinkering with Star Wars Episode 4: A New Hope for years, attempting to revamp the film with additional scenes here, a new opening sequence there, and a slew of special effects changes. The first changes happened in 1981, with a new cut with the subtitle added, replaced the 1997 original print run. Since then, Lucas has spent decades avoiding being beholden to the first attempt at his magnum opus. Since 1997, theaters have only been permitted to screen the rejigged, updated version. To Lucas, the version the British Film Institute will be screening is not very good, and he won't acknowledge its existence. The special edition, that's the one I wanted out there. The other movie, it's on VHS if anybody wants it. I'm not going to spend we're talking millions of dollars here, the money and the time to refurbish that, because to me, it doesn't really exist anymore. Lucas told the Associated Press in 2004. It's like, this is the movie I wanted it to be, and I'm sorry if you saw a half-completed film and fell in love with it, but I want it to be the way I want it to be. Okay. Unfortunately for him, Lucasfilm and Disney gave permission to the BFI to screen the original print of the Star Wars film. You may believe a film belongs to its creator, according to what he told the audience during his masterclass seminar at last year's Cannes Film Festival. But when you sell your company for $4 billion, you quickly learn it does not. It doesn't. He's on the board of Disney, guys. Every time someone's like, "Oh man," part of that $4 billion is he gets to sit on the Disney board now. Jesus. Every time they try to characterize that as just like, well, Disney's off doing something that George Lucas probably wouldn't have. He's on the board. I mean, that doesn't mean he controls the board, but he's not powerless for what happens with Star Wars now. Speaking of Disney, Fantastic Four First Steps trailer. Pedro Pascal and Marvel's First Family battle the Silver Surfer. Marvel's First Family is back in action in the new trailer for Marvel Studios' The Fantastic Four New Steps. This is reading from Jordan Moreau over at Variety. The four leads are Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards, a.k.a. Mr. Fantastic. Vanessa Kirby as Sue Storm, a.k.a. the Invisible Woman. Joe Quinn as Johnny Storm, a.k.a. the Human Torch. And Yvonne Moss-Barack as Ben Grimm, a.k.a. the Thing. The cast also includes Ralph Ineson as the planet-devouring villain Galactus, Julia Garner as the Silver Surfer, Paul Walter Hauser, Natasha Lyonne, and John Malkovich. Hide your scenery. John Malkovich is coming. he's gonna chew it. Joke about how John Malkovich chews scenery. I hope you enjoyed my material. I'm getting back into doing stand up. Let's watch this thing.
Wow, folks, we all know the story. 4 brave astronauts head up into space and come back forever changed.
This car?
Our city.
I like the throwback 1960s thing.
While we can never repay them, we can certainly celebrate them.
Thank you, Fantastic Four. Thank you.
The like futuristic night.
Please welcome the Fantastic Four.
Herbie, how's that sauce looking? Okay. That is fantastic.
You're late.
What do you mean?
What do you mean? What do I mean? You're late for dinner.
Yes, we are.
You late?
I just said that.
Are you pregnant?
What? You're gonna be the best mom in the world. And you are gonna be the best dad. Just kidding. You are out of your depth. We are gonna be the best uncles ever.
We can do this. Nothing's going to change.
Not a thing. This isn't a movie where things change and there's conflict.
Are you the protectors of this world?
Yes, we are.
Your planet is now marked for death.
It's my fault. I stretched the bounds of space. And they hurt.
Are we safe?
I don't know. There's not enough time.
I'm not giving up. We will face this together. We will fight it together. As a family. It has to be us.
Look at the stretchy bits. Okay.
We will protect you.
That is interesting. That's the only time we see him stretch in that trailer at all. Okay. I don't know. I like the retro futurism 1960s shtick. I think that was a really smart plan. Snoopy says I'll watch it. It'll probably be fine. That's kind of where I'm at with it. I still don't, as someone who like sits pretty firmly on a very lefty inclusive side of things and fucking loves comic books, fucking loves the Silver Surfer. The decision to run with that petite. And, like, the Silver Surfer gender doesn't super matter for that entity till you get, like, real deep in it, right? But it's, like, that's also just, like, a decision that's, like... It's hard for me to talk to the people that come in that want to be like, they're just making decisions about inclusion for inclusion's sake, and that's a bad thing. It's hard for me to have those conversations with those people with stuff like that, which is like, yeah, why would you run? They do like a woman Silver Surfer more recently in the comics, but the classic, like, which you could tell with a woman, that's fine. It's also just, it begs the question, why? And I was kind of waiting, and also wait for the movie to be like, oh yeah, no, that's why they had to use the Silver Surfer for it. and waiting for that like really good story reason. But if it's not there, it's gonna be like I love that actress too. She's great. I loved her in Ozark. It's just, and we've had almost as many Fantastic Four reboots as we've had Spider-Man reboots, and X-Men. So we've had more Fantastic Four reboots now than X-Men. It's the same as Spider-Man, right? Because it's like, yeah, the second Sony, and Disney, and now we have the Fox, the second Fox, and then Disney for Fantastic Four. So, it'll be fine, I'm sure. Doopy says, but is it part of the universe? I don't think part of the MCU as we know it, but I think it'll get folded in somehow. Doopy says, or now we have the Marvel Cinematic Universe that branches realities, so they're all connected. Yeah. Adam says, I don't know when I'll watch it, but probably I'll watch it sometime. That's the problem, and where they're at right now is everyone's reaction is just kind of like, eh. like I'll watch it. I don't know if I broke it down before, but I think you can see the eras of MCU filmmaking in three like sections. Forget their phases, right? Of like, we're on phase 5 or whatever the fuck their stupid marketing for their corporate bullshit is. Here are the actual 3 phases of Marvel. And we're in the third one. We're in the third phase. The first phase of MCU is we make stars. During that phase, they took people that no one wanted to work with anymore, like Robert Downey Jr., or people that people mostly had never heard of, and they turned those people into stars. So, like, that whole era of filmmaking was them making movies that were, like, so good and so undeniable that the people within those films became movie stars. After that, you pivot into the next era of Marvel, which was Marvel casting that was like almost like a makeup for stars want to be cast in there. We can get anybody, right? We got Bill Murray for 7 seconds in this movie because Bill Murray's just like, I'll fucking do a Marvel thing. Everyone wants a piece. The everyone wants a piece casting era in which you just have everybody trying to get a bite at the apple. Everyone's trying to get into Marvel movies. Marvel movies is what makes money. So it's just like, you could see it in their casting. Like, all of a sudden, like, their villains are people that you thought would never do a Marvel film, or they'll get like comedians for these like little side pieces that you would think would never do a Marvel film. And that's the second phase of Marvel movies that we left a little while ago. We are now in the stunt casting era of Marvel movies. The desperate stunt casting of like, I don't know, Robert Downey Jr.'s back and he's Doom now. Will you watch this one? Pedro Pascal? You guys like him, right? Pedro Pascal? Harrison, Indiana Jones is Red Hulk. Will you guys come watch the movies now again, please? Addo says, I like that Harrison Ford is very open about being in it for the money. Yes. Snoopy says Bill Murray was in Zombieland. He'll be in anything. My favorite thing about Bill Murray's career, and I fucking love Bill Murray, and his sister lives in this town. So he's one of the few celebrities that, as I live a more hermitish life, I have a chance of running into. Because his sister lives here. I fucking love Bill Murray. He's great. My favorite thing about Bill Murray, though, is he's classically, by all accounts, a dick who's not easy to work with. However, because his whole career has been basically alongside Chevy Chase, like they both started in SNL around the same time. Chevy Chase has been like this lightning rod of being so colossally a dick and so colossally like hard to not just work with, be in a room with. That Bill Murray's been able to just like kind of skate by. Also, I think Bill Murray's a lot more talented than Chevy Chase, with helps. But Chevy Chase is talented. One of the funniest physical comedians to ever live. Chevy Chase, colossal asshole. But man, yeah, yeah. Bill Murray's sister is a nun in this town. It's neat. And so like every once in a while, homie swings through. Which is great. I like the idea of Bill Murray just like wandering into my comic shop and me being like, "Hey, dude, I know that you were hated the experience of making Groundhog Day, but it's one of my favorite movies of all time. It means a lot to me." Adam says, "Oh yeah, they're colossally horrible shit stains, but unfortunately funny too." Yeah. Do you know that for Groundhog Day, Ivan Reitman knew so much that he could count on Bill Murray being an asshole as production waned on, because he apparently was in every movie. Like as the movies. Like, he'd always start the movie like, "All right, guys, no, we're really excited. We're all going to do this project." And by the end of the movie, he hated everybody and was treating everybody like shit. And so Ivan Reitman knew that was going to happen because he'd worked with Bill so many times that they shot Groundhog's Day basically backwards. So in the early stages, in the early scenes, is actually the stuff at the end of the movie where he's like becoming a good person and is happy. That's all the stuff they shot first, because he knew that he would be acting like a complete asshat by the end of the production. And so all of the stuff, like that's basically in the middle of the movie where he's just like becoming a worse and worse person. They shot all that at the end when they knew he would just naturally be doing that anyways. It's amazing. Yeah. Every Friday, we go to the hive of scum and villainy that is Reddit. We go to r/relationship advice, and see what they're saying over there, where people post and ask questions and try to learn how to fix their lives, when often we learn they probably should just speak to each other, right? Like this situation. Right, I have opened the same one twice. Give me a second so I can figure out why and how I did that. Okay. My boyfriend's mom is mad that my boyfriend bought me some stuff for my period. I, a 20-year-old female, live with my boyfriend, 23-year-old male, and his mom is currently staying with us for a few weeks. I started my period early this week and couldn't find my pads, so my boyfriend went to the store and got me a box and some vanilla ice cream. When his mom saw that, she got mad at him for wasting his money on me and that I should have gotten this stuff myself. When his mom saw that, she got mad at me for him wasting his money on me and said that I should have gotten the stuff myself. She also said that he shouldn't be cuddling me since I'm unsanitary, and she finds it inappropriate. Just based on the titles. Adam says throughout the mom. Yeah. She walked up to me earlier today and said, I have no right to be using her son like this, and she wants us to break up. She's really getting on my nerves, but my boyfriend says that he would feel bad about kicking her out, but also is annoyed at what she's doing. She has nowhere to go if she gets kicked out, but it will be a while before she can get her own apartment. I understand that she's his mom and that he cares about her, but she's really making an effort to get us to break up. What should we do in this situation? Oh, I'm getting auto mods. She has to see you next Tuesday. Okay, yeah. Yeah, sorry, I'm over. I was just reading the restream chat, so stuff that wasn't getting through wasn't getting over there. Yeah, this is wow. Addo says return her to the store, get a new mom. So you're 23 and 20, and mom is staying with us a few weeks. I mean, with mom staying a few weeks, I think you kind of grit and bear it for those few weeks, as long as there are a few weeks. And if there's a date on the calendar that mom's leaving, you grit your teeth and you get through it, and then you have conversations afterwards. Because if you have conversations during and she's that toxic, it's gonna become a nuclear bomb. Or if you're like trying to get her to leave earlier, or trying to get it, she has nowhere else to go. She gets kicked out, but it'll be a while before she can get her own apartment. Okay, so like she's not staying a few weeks; she's staying indefinitely. Then, that's a different situation. You phrase it at the start like she's only going to be there a few weeks, and then it turns into it's gonna be a while before she can get her own apartment. That's a lot. Anytime you're moving people into the house with you, it's a lot, and it will change things. I mean, I have my kids here for 2 weeks, and then I don't have them here for 2 weeks. That's what goes back and forth between their mom, right? And it's like Selena and I's relationship changes based on if their kids are in the house or not, and how could it not? And then we feel various levels of like guilty or weird about it or whatever else, but we get 2 weeks in which I get to, we get to be just each other's only focus and everything, and then 2 weeks where my focus is divided, and there's more than just me and Kat's messing up her stuff, right? Like it's moving someone into your house changes up your relationship dynamics quite a bit. And so young Jeff was very much the like, no, like we have a house, anybody's welcome person. And there's a lot of regrets I have in my first marriage because of that approach. And now I think it's like perfectly kind and good to like prioritize your main relationship. And be like, hey, no, like, mom, I love you. You can't be here. Like, but when you're not the kid, you're waiting for your partner to make that decision. That's rough. As doesn't mean, honestly, it's a tough situation since it's hard to kick out family, but also they're on their own. They have the right of the house. Maybe says the mom put the kid in a bad spot. He has to kind of deal with it. Son has to tell mom to fuck off a bit. Yeah. But that's a hard decision it's dude's 23. That's a hard lesson that most people learn the hard way. Like, he's probably going to lose this girl because of his mom. And he probably going to take another couple of years to realize even that's what happened. Because that's how that goes. Addo says, also, why is the mom saying that the partner is unsanitary because she went through the same stuff too? I don't know. People get weird about period shit. I've never understood it. But there's a whole generation of dudes that are just like, oh my god, I don't even want to walk down that aisle. And then there's also a generation of women that seem to like be a part of just like, yeah, we don't talk about such things. We don't. Stevie's mom wants to fuck the son. That's my opinion that no one can change. I mean, it's that's a. I don't see the evidence against that. Although that's an unlikely. It's probably they definitely have some boundary issues. It does seem like that's the case. This girl's 20. Just get the fuck out. I know that's so hard to hear because like you probably love this dude. You live with this dude. You're 20 years old. You don't even know quite who you are or what's important to you yet. You need to date more people to learn that out. Anyways, get out of this situation that is probably... If there's not a clear date in mind where mom's leaving and mom's already getting this toxic this early on, it's just get the fuck out. Get the fuck out. And it sucks. Make sure you tell your boyfriend on the way out. That's why you did it. So, like, he's learning those lessons faster. But, like, you're 20. You're the statistical likelihood that this is the person that you're supposed to spend your life with is so small, and so much of a percentage of the statistics that means that yes, it is, are people that clung on when they should not have. So, I'm not the like break up right away when I read relationship advice person, but you're 20 and you have no control in it. Like, if you convince him to kick his mom out, that is going to be a defining thing in your relationship with him, with your relationship with his mother for the rest of your life. He needs to come to that conclusion on his own. And you don't deserve all the bullshit you're going to catch along the way for him maybe getting there. That's crazy. Like, forget the crazy period stuff's fascinating, but like and weird. But like, even if she was just like yelling at you about like how you wash dishes or whatever the fuck, I don't know, man. I wouldn't be signing up for this. You're 20. You have so much life ahead of you. Stevie says, I don't say get the fuck out. This might be the right guy. It's his move next, though. They need to have a conversation, and he might step up. I don't like the people giving up that easy. That is true. I mean, he might step up. I worry if she gives him my worry would be if she gives him an ultimatum, and then that's the only reason he steps up. It's not from like initial like, yeah, no, you're right, but like, well, I don't want to lose you. I guess I'll kick him out. And then he goes and he like soft sells it to mom, and he's like, Mom, you know how I would really want you to stay, and I have no problem with you, but it's just it's my girlfriend. She's just, if it gets sold to mom that way, then it's like every Christmas for the rest of their lives you're gonna be navigating this bullshit, and every time he has the slightest issue, mom's gonna be in his ear like, well, you remember how she kicked me out? Like, it's just, it only works if he's like, Mom, you need to get the fuck... I love you. Get the fuck out. Like, that's the only way this works. And Snoopy says that's what would create a long-term divide. Yeah. Yeah, they... Dude needs to not only step up, but to, like, fucking own it. And be like, Mom, I need you out of here. And it's me that needs you out of here. The top comment is, you're unsanitary? Did she travel here in a time machine straight from the Middle Ages? What the fuck? That's like I guess she's just clinging to whatever she can throw at her, but weird. Chris says he needs to tell his mom to back the fuck off. Make sure your boyfriend is aware of his toxic mother's behavior. One of the many reasons she probably addresses you like that is because he lets her. That's sad. She clearly is attached to her son in an unhealthy way, especially if she's upset he spent maybe like $6 on you. What happens when y'all do bigger things and things continue? I forgot about the money aspect too. She's like butting in on how he spends his money on her. Probably because he's saying no to her on things. Like, Mom, I can't get that for you. I can't. What's Mom doing? Like, what's her job? What is... that would be my next very important question. Is what's Mom doing? Snoopy says, well, clearly Mom's a fuck up. Clearly. All right. Get the other one. My 27-year-old female boyfriend, 26-year-old male, is still using his ex-girlfriend's Netflix account. I feel kind of dumb to feel uncomfortable about this, but it makes me uncomfortable that every time he uses Netflix, it's going to show her name. They used to share his Hulu and her Netflix accounts. After they broke up, none of them changed their passwords and kept using it. It's not a trust issue or jealousy. I think it's the second one, but okay. It's not a trust issue or jealousy. It's just that I don't like it. I gave him my Netflix account, and he gave me his Hulu and changed his password for me, but I'm not sure if I'm making a bigger deal than it actually is. Thanks in advance for any advice you can give me. This is counseling and therapy would be my number one. Like, Snoopy says it's a jealousy issue for sure. Whatever account he uses shouldn't really matter to her. No, it shouldn't. My guess is him seeing his ex-girlfriend's name pop up isn't a problem for him. It's a problem for you. You don't like seeing that name pop up. And homie's not with her. He's with you. And by the way, you can go ahead and fix this exact situation. Like, you can go ahead and like make it so that you can make Netflix go away. You can just be like, you know what, I'm just not going to use Netflix anymore and delete Netflix. Or he can get the Netflix that's your Netflix and always log into your Netflix. But this isn't the last time that something like this is going to make you feel this way. And so if you just treat it that way, it's gonna, what happens 5 years from now when like he's on a work trip and there's a work part and like you're suddenly just like, you can't go on that work trip because like you've never worked on this ability within yourself to even let him run a Netflix account with another name on it. Do you know how much we would be laughing if we were using shit that like an ex was paying for on either end? We would just be like, oh neat, we're not paying for this and using it, ha 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 ha, and then eventually be like, oh well, that was a good run. Snoopy said, yeah, sign out and sign in. Addo says, it's definitely jealousy, but also he can use her account. Sam says, she said she doesn't like seeing the name pop up. Snoopy said, did you know the block of learning for suggested videos that account has gone through takes time? that's a weird argument I could almost see him making, but I don't know that he's making that hard, but it's just like, it has all my data of like, I'm this many episodes of this show, this many episodes in this show. I mean, I would give that up if it meant this conversation went away that I was having with my partner. But like, I could see that as like a weird thing of like, I don't. Netflix at least doesn't have any digital purchases. There's nothing like that tied to it. Addo says like there's a compromise very easily. Snoopy says yeah, sign out and sign in. Sam said, didn't she say she gave him a... Yeah. No, that compromise is easy, and that fixes this problem. 100%. I'm in agreement there. Where what I'm saying, though, is, like... This is... To have this happening and be like, it's nothing to do with jealousy, is a self-delusion that will come back to bite you later. That's a mouse tool that we'll use later. Like, it's bad. Sam says, I think the insecurity / jealousy thing comes from the potential of him still talking to his ex. Not, haha, my ex is paying for this. No, I agree, yeah. I'm just saying, no, our reaction would be more along that second line, and I would say the second line is probably a more natural reaction, or even like a, oh, let's do it. I don't want my ex paying for something that I'm using, are all more typical reactions to this than like a jealousy thing, the insecurity and jealousy. And my point is, like, if you don't acknowledge the insecurity and jealousy that's there as something that you might need to like touch up on, you can make this very particular issue go away very instantly. And so this very particular one won't come up, but the alchemy that made it is still going to be there, and it's going to pop up in different ways. Some comments here. My boyfriend left his ex's profile as Netflix for months after we started dating, and I wasn't his first girlfriend since they'd broken up. I also thought it was weird seeing her name every time he watched a show, and then magically one day, after it was blatantly obviously on the screen, it disappeared. Someone says, paying for your own Netflix subscription in this economy? Seriously, though, I don't think it's a big deal. This person says, my ex uses my Netflix account, and I use his Stan, which is an Australian streaming service account. We never speak to each other. We just have profiles on those services that we use. We each pay for one, so it's mutually beneficial. Nothing dodgy going on. We're just cheapskates. Yeah, I still have a few shared services at this point with my ex-wife, but it's a little different because we have kids, and so it's just kind of like, weirdly enough, a lot of them have kind of naturally fallen off over time, but weirdly enough, the one that makes it the easiest and the kindest about it is Amazon. We can have one Prime account that is like tied to like two different accounts at two different households, and so we basically have separate Amazon logins completely, but I pay for it every year, and there's stuff that she pays for it, right? But it's like we both get access to all the Amazon Prime stuff, and it's the one company that's like, yeah, no, that makes sense. Like, you guys can share this, and it's like, okay, cool. Sam says, but like his partner already has an account and offered it to him. In my opinion, it's weird he didn't move off of that. Addo says, honestly, that was my thought. That could be a very good point. Like, why did you not make the jump? Sam says, I won't say red flag, but a bit sus, but also we are only hearing one POV. Your ex-wife is a co-parent, though. 100%. But my ex-wife being a co-parent, which means that like I've had to redefine the relationship with her, and I've had to like relearn a new relationship with her, and like it's been that thing, has meant that it's like it's made me put into perspective a lot of like what I'm friends with most people that I dated, and that is a unique thing often, and I've never quite understood that. Like it's weird that it's weird that we define the only successful relationships as the ones that end with someone dying. I think that's a weird thing in our culture. And it's weird that, yeah, it's like once you date someone and then it doesn't work, that we're just like, burn everything. And that's also a weird. We were poly for a while too. My ex-wife and I poly's not the right fit for me, but it helped me kind of understand a lot of like toxic monogamy that I was just taking for like standard. It's really, I don't know, it's really interesting. I don't know. I'm with you guys. It might raise a little bit of a red flag. If it's, especially if you don't know the why of just like, no, just will you please sign into mine instead? And then he doesn't. But also, how is that presented? You know, how did you give him that password? Were you honest with him about like how it's a thing that like is emotionally affecting you? Like, did you come to him with one of those like, hey man, this is probably stupid and it's probably something I need to work on, but is there any way you could just like sign into my Netflix instead of hers? It's just really getting to me, and if I could like not see her name, like that would be helpful. Is that how you presented it to him? Or were you just like, hey, by the way, if you ever need it, here's my Netflix password, and then got upset he didn't switch? And he was just like, oh, cool, thank you. And in his head, it's just like, oh, I have this for when this gets cut off. Like, not picking up at all that, like, it was something that was bothering you. You're like, cool, like, I have this. Thank you so much. And just moving on throughout his day. Doesn't ever clock the fact that it's like, that's a thing that you're upset about. This is me self-inserting, because that would 100% be me. I'm just like, oh, cool, thank you. It would just be completely oblivious. And then it would come out like later and be like, I can't believe you never switched that Netflix. Like, what? What do you mean? Sam said, I'm just saying people are very, very rarely just obsessive. This reads less of jealousy and a bit more insecurity. And that's a fair distinction. Mostly everyone has been cheated on before, so I don't just writer take off as irrationally jealous. That being said, we don't know how they communicate. If something like that exists, she need to have said it clearly to him. All that is just in my opinion. Yeah. No, that's fair. But that's more often I'm the absolute worst person at reading in between the lines. You see it happen in real time on this show. Where like Lita would be like, I guess just keep doing the show, and I'll be like, okay, thanks. I'll just like so not that. And Sam will be in the chat like, hey Jeff, you need to go take a break and go check in on that thing. Wait, there are lines? Once again, the solution is communication. Yes, but okay. The problem is some people grow up in a nice little trauma incubator, or their young adult life is a nice little trauma incubator in which they come out feeling only safe and or eloquent in indirect communication. And some people in that same incubator and that same little, like, this is the person now, and the person's like going through adult life, or maybe they're a little autistic, or maybe they only work well with like very, very direct communication. So you can be indirectly communicating one thing while indirectly communicating another thing, and some percentage of people would be like, that's what that means, that's what it means. Whereas the other person would be like, cool, got it. And they'll be looking at that first meaning and not that second meaning. And then this person will get upset because you didn't hear this thing over here. But they didn't say this thing over here. They said this thing. But they did say this thing, just not in a language that you understand. Sam says, Jeff makes me feel like I'm broken for being okay at communicating, like I should be worse. I don't want you to... No, being good at communicating is a good thing. And we all should get better at it. But that's one of the hardest things, is just... And then it's like you'll find sometimes, like, there will be couples that's the only problem, and then they'll get with someone else who also indirectly communicates, and they'll do fine. It's very weird. But it's just, Sam said, to that point, I would say part of a relationship is learning your partner's language. Yeah. And it says, I agree with this. Like, if you learn how they communicate, then it makes your life much easier. I agree. Indirect communication is so hard for me, though. It is so colossally hard. Like, I will be looking someone in the face and be like, your actions and your attitude seem like you're mad, but your words are saying you're not, and I don't know which to believe. And they'll be like, yeah, Jeff, I'm so happy and okay with this. And I'll be like, I still don't know which way to go. I don't know. In other ways in life, I'm so smart. But yeah, that one will get me every single time. Every single time. Hello, Mello. You're here at the tail end. We just read some interesting relationship advice about Netflix passwords and moms getting upset that their son's girlfriends have periods, because that's a thing for some reason. Two pieces part of that also goes back on the spouse. It can't all be one-sided. Yes, and finding that middle ground is difficult. It's hard. But so there's a lot of things in life that are worthwhile. That's our YouTube channel. Put a lot of work into it. I take like 6-hour videos and I cut them down into like nice little 20-minute chunks of, and that doesn't mean like I take 6 hours and break it up into 20 minutes. I take it and I squish it down into just the jokes. We're getting the Last of Us stuff up this week. So that while everyone's talking about that, their Last of Us, people can see Selena playing Last of Us 2 for the first time. We also do a comic book live sale on Whatnot every Saturday night. You follow that link, it'll give you $15 free to buy from us. You can also just take those $15 free and buy from someone else completely, and we still get a kickback for it. But if you want to, that's going to be the next time we are going to be live at all. Is doing that tomorrow night from 8 to 10. We have raid messages. They look like this and like this, depending on if you're subscribed or not subscribed. I'm going to remember to copy it this time because I've forgotten like the last 7 times I've done this. Appreciate all of you for hanging out. And then yeah, we'll be back with more Dark Deck Daily Monday morning. Yeah, we're gonna go bug Shiki. Shiki is playing Creepy Shift House for Sale. She's describing it last night. It sounds like a real cool, fun time. We're gonna hang out over there. You're welcome for the stream, where we say be honest, be kind, be useful, live a good fucking life. We love you all. We'll see you Saturday night for comic book streaming and Monday morning for more Dork Tech Daily. And yeah, come bug us on YouTube.